welcome to the Orchard Raceway modern four-wheel drive buggies. Not a great start for the Baja Champ because I struggled to get around the corner at the very start. This buggy is running some seriously old electronics. I mean, they're a modern ESC, but it's a very early modern ESC from what I can tell. And that 7.27 was its fastest lap so far. Not a bad start, really. But this thing is struggling to get below 8 seconds because it's just running on those oil-filled shocks that I don't actually think have any oil in. The motor's an old motor, not helping it out, and the electrics are not doing its thing. And I'm really struggling to keep control of this one as we go around the Orchard Raceway. 11 seconds, that's an embarrassing lap. But you can just see it's not responding quickly enough. I don't think the ESC, or all the servo for that matter, are responding to the inputs of the car fast enough to make this particular buggy competitive, unfortunately. So I'll let you enjoy the rest of the footage, and then we'll have a little wrap up at the end. With a time of 7.27, the Baja Champ Australia edition managed to pull out, I suppose, a reasonable lap. This should be very close, though, to a TT02B, and I don't think, so I'm using the electrics in there that came with it, and they're a little bit out of date. The motor, I think, has seen better days as well, and the shocks aren't doing it any favours. So I've not really set this up to succeed, have I? And I've pitched it right in with the modern four-wheel drive buggies, and I don't think it's off to a good start. But it looks cool, doesn't it? And I think that sometimes that's what you have to go on. You have to sort of say, well, my RC does look good. I can put a faster motor in. I can put some different shocks on it. I can play around with how it's set up. But it does look fun, and it is a part of Tamiya's history of buggies. But it was from a time, really, where I think Tamiya were out of the buggy game. They're really focusing on their touring cars. And this one very much feels like a touring car that's kind of been buggy-fied. But then you can argue that's what the TT02B is. It's the same. It'll be back next year, I'm sure. It currently sits on top of the leaderboard. I don't think it's going to stay there. But it's another one of the OAG fleet that will be back for more at some point. Until then, we just have to enjoy it for what it is. So over to Murphy, the DF03. I call him Murphy because he's got an awful lot of metal in him. A good Robocop reference for those of you who like 80s action films. So the DF03 starts off pretty well. 2 identical laps, 6.87. And actually, I found this thing quite easy to drive out on the Orchard Raceway. The laps are reasonably consistent, and I do like the way that this buggy handles and turns in. I think it is carrying a bit of extra weight, a bit of extra timber because of all that metal on it, but it certainly looks the part out there. I know you guys will all have your own views on this particular buggy. I personally think it looks beautiful. 6.91, another just sort of sub-second, 7-second lap. I'm just starting to find the groove, getting into this buggy now, finding its little niches and the way that it handles on the track. 6.07, we are catching up on the DT03 and 6 seconds. That is the same time as the DT03. We are still off the Cougar, but that is a pretty impressive lap time. This is 1/10 off of the lap record time. What a session for the DF03. Many people will have their opinions on this buggy, but I don't think it's too bad. And mine is carrying a bit of extra weight, with those stronger arms, which I am tempted actually to take off, and maybe the alloy stays as well. So I think that does add a fair bit of weight to the way this thing drives, but not for this season. I'm pleased with that. 6 seconds dead for the DF03. It currently sits top of the pack in the modern four-wheel drive. I do think that could be a tough beat, you know. I'm not sure the four-wheel drives are going to have it this season. I do think the two-wheel drives around the track are slightly better suited. However, this thing does drive very, very nicely. You can see why people were a big fan of it. You can also see why people were concerned about it, because I do think it is a little bit of a faff, certainly getting the battery in and out with that battery door underneath. I think it is a bit delicate, if I'm honest. I know mine's got all this metal on it, but every time I take it out, I do worry I'm going to break something. So far, touch wood somewhere here, so good. But I do like this particular one. I do like what I did to it. Those translucent shocks are, you know, they're cool, aren't they? Love being able to see what's going on inside the shock as it goes up and down. It's very, very sweet. And, you know, I always say you cannot beat a gearbox in the back that is clear. For now, it might be in the finale, unless anything go faster. We've got the XV01 still to come and the TT02B, so it might be knocked off its perch, but for now, it is our modern four-wheel drive leader for another week. Thank you very much. See you all soon on the OAG RC. Bye for now. The racing machine indeed. The Lancia Delta XV01 Tamiya. What can we get out of this belt-driven four-wheel drive rally car out on the Orchard Raceway? Now, last season, this was a non-event. I didn't race the rally cars last season, mainly because I had that big jump on the Orchard Raceway last year, and I was concerned that, well, basically I was going to wreck some of the cars. And we're back out this year with a small jump, but one that I thought that the rally cars would be able to handle. The XV01 is handling it, but the lap times are way off the pace of the buggies. And I think, despite putting in a really good performance the first year that the XV01 went out, you can see every single lap is just struggling to break down to those 7 seconds. I'm sort of pitching in at the 7, 7.5, the 8s. And you can see the car bobbling around. The Orchard's not as smooth this season as it was in previous years. 7.5 again. I'd love to see this do a sub-7 and get into the 6s, but I'm not sure I've got it in me. 7.77, and that to me looked like a good lap as well. I think, unfortunately, the rally cars are out of the running this year. Say what you want about this, it is still one of my favourite drives of RCs. The rally cars struggle with the jump. You would not believe the problems that I had with the TT02 Type S, which you're not going to be seeing in this class, because unfortunately, and I will run the footage now for you, we had some problems with the drive shafts. So the XV01 is the only rally car that represents this season. 7.04 is not a fast lap time. The Orchard Raceway is not kind to our rally cars, unfortunately. So we're going to have to come up with a better way of doing rally stuff on the Orchard Raceway, or the OAG sessions. I'll give some thought to that during the off-season. But for now, this XV01 is done for the season, back onto the shelf, but it will be back. At least it did the Mark Bryan poor boys slalom faster than Yoda managed to do it in his 959. Just drop that in there, just for some extra banter. Right, thanks for watching, guys. See you all next week. One more competitor, TT02B, still to go. A Orchard Raceway winner from 2022. Let's see how that gets on. Here we go, an Orchard Raceway 2022 champion, the Tamiya TT02B, 6.5 second opening lap. I like the look of this. It is always quick, 6.10. We are a tenth of a second off the DF03 at the moment, and now we've gone 6 seconds. We've whoa, that was a big off, wasn't it? 6 seconds is the same time as the DF03, so both of them are currently tying for the lead in the modern four-wheel drive class. Can this buggy pull out the business and do a faster lap than that? 6.7 is not going to do it. I'm starting to struggle with the grip a little bit on these tyres, I must admit. Now, this is running the same wheels and tyres as the DF. We have done it! 5.87, a new Orchard Raceway lap record. What an absolute blinder. I was just about to say it's running the same wheels and tyres as the DF03, but it doesn't matter. The TT02B shows why it is a former Orchard Raceway champion with that absolutely blinding lap record of 5.87. Wow, I was struggling to start with, but we got there in the end, didn't we? The TT02B is a sub 6 second Orchard Raceway runner and currently is the fastest car to go round the track this season, regaining its rightful place top of the stack and into its second finale. So both the TT02B and the DT03 are back for their second season finale. This has set the cat amongst the pigeons, because I thought that the two-wheel drives were going to run the Rule the Roost this season, and it seems that this particular four-wheel drive has got other things to think about it. I think this season the extra ground clearance has helped it out on the Orchard Raceway. I don't think these tyres do it any favours. I think it would be quicker with more grip. However, these are the same tyres that were on the DF03, and that went well also. So, what do you think? Tamiya's budget cars are smacking it out on the Orchard Raceway on Torque Tunes and Smart Tune motors. It's mad, isn't it? I think all those cars with all that extra bits and pieces that go on them, and they can't be pretty much, this is a bog standard. Other than bearings, this is exactly as it came out on these tyres and wheels. This is how it came out the kit. There we go. On to another division is finished. On to another one. We've got the vintage four-wheel drive class to come. Will the vintage ones be able to topple this thing? We shall find out. Thanks for watching, and see you all soon on the OAG RC. Goodbye for now.